Good morning, we're back at the property. It's 7th of March 2025, about 5 minutes to 9 in the morning. The sun is shining, but is nearly just above freezing. And today we will have to transplant or to plant, because I already dug out the trees that were planted last year in the spring of 2024 in our back garden. And today, as I said, we'll have to plant them in these holes that were dug in the experimental ditch. As you saw in the previous clips, the trench ditch, let's call it ditch, was dug, was filled up with good soil, with amendments, with chicken manure, with, as you can see here, sawdust, with how do you call it, clippings, grass clippings, and good soil from the woods. Now these are the trees that need to be planted, and they are Paulownia. They are 1 year old. They were planted last year, and they were planted from root cuttings. They grew in a year roughly 4 meters, 4 to 5 meters and above. So the trailer has about 3 meters, and we still have some length to the trees up until the tractor. So 4 to 5 meters growth in 1 year. Now, albeit the growth is also due to the fact that where they were planted, it was a really protected area. So we had like fences all around, and the soil was really good. And I put also amendments when I planted them. So I dug the holes. After I dug the holes, I put some cow manure, some chicken manure, and some really good vegetable soil that contains how do you say, plants, decomposing plants, you know, and then water them, and yeah, this is the result. So if you take care of your Paulownia trees, they will grow really fast, especially in the first year. Maybe during the next years the growth won't be as accelerated or as rapid, but still it will be pretty fast. Also, comparing with other trees, it has a fantastic growth. So this is the job that we should do today. Just transplant all those Paulownia trees here in the experimental ditch that I've dug. If you haven't watched the other videos, or if I haven't mentioned yet, I dug here a ditch 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, 40 meters long, from where I've took out all the bad soil. It's a really clay soil, mostly clay. And after that, I've filled it back in with good soil, with chicken manure, with, as I said, sawdust, and then I dug the holes, and now I will have to plant the trees. That's all for now. I'll see you back when the job is done. See ya. I would just like to show you how I'm planting the trees. This is the end result. So at the base of the tree, a little hole should be left from the soil level, as for the water to stay near the tree when I am watering them. This is what I want to obtain also here while I'm planting the Paulownias, but I wanted to show you how I'm doing it. So these holes were dug mechanically with a hole digger, with an auger, but they filled back in because it was dug a fair amount a long time ago. And this is the first Paulownia that I planted today, and this is the process. So I'm taking out the soil from the hole, then I'm positioning the tree. I'm trying to keep it like 10 centimeters below the soil level, and then I'll add this compost. It's chicken manure, cow manure, and sawdust, which I'll be putting them at the roots. This is the same concoction that I used to grow them in my home garden, where I taken them from. So I put also this here. And then I'll just cover it up with soil up until like 10 centimeters below the soil level to obtain something like this. It's not yet 10 centimeters, but it will settle down, and once I'm watering them, they will go a little bit lower. So that's all. So 2.5 hours later, and we have our intermediate results. I say intermediate because on this row there are 23 locations, holes dug for trees to be planted. 2 of them were planted last year to see if it works, and it did. And 1 of them I transplanted or relocated from that place, so it was already planted here, and I've relocated it. So from the 23 positions, we have to plant today 20 positions. From those 20 positions, I've planted 19, because that's how many trees I got here. And these 19 trees are almost all, 18 of them, are 1 year old, that were planted in our back garden. And one of them, it's 3 years old, this one. But this one didn't get the best conditions, so it didn't grow as well as the others. That's why it has 3 years old, and the other ones are 1 year old. So this is the intermediate result. 19 trees already planted, and now we have to bring the other one, the last one, which is also 3 years old, but it is a lot bigger because it had the right conditions: moistures, water, soil, light, and so on. This one, this Paulownia, is the one that I relocated. It was already planted here like, I don't know, 3 years ago, but again, it didn't have the right condition and it almost withered. We'll see if it will live here. And these 2 are the ones that you've seen so far on the other videos that were planted last year in the same setting. So I dug this part of the trench, covered it with good soil, planted these, and then waited to see if they grow nicely. They did. So then I've continued digging the ditch up until here, until the middle of the property, and then filled it with good topsoil and amendments. So yeah, this is the intermediate result. Now we'll go back, bring the last one, plant it at the end of the row or at the beginning of the row, depends. And I also have to bring some water to water them, and I'll do that with an IBC tote and another trailer. Started the wind to pick up, kind of windy around here, but so far so good. So it's finally done. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 7th of March 2025, and I finished planting all the Paulownias in the experimental ditch, starting with this one and going all the way down there. This one that has 2 trunks and this one were planted last year as an experiment to see if it's a viable option. This one was relocated, and all these were brought from my backyard, back garden, from back home, my parents' home, where I grew up, and planted. Now I'm in the process of watering them. I've already put like 10 liters of water for each one, and I'll give them another 10 liters, so 20 liters per tree, just to have good chances of growing. And this Last one is the one that I told you that it has 3 years old. It is 3 years old, and it was very large. It grew really nicely, and it was kind of a hassle to bring it here. From uprooting it, I had to prune it because it was very heavy, but hopefully it will grow. So this is the end of the project with the experimental ditch. From now on, all I have to do is water them and take care of them. And moreover, with these last holes being filled in with trees, all this lot of land is now planted with trees, like this one and so on. There are like 500 trees that I planted on a schema with 2 by 2, so 2 meters in between with a triangle, so it's like a hexagon and triangles. And from now on we'll just have to take care of them. That's it for now. I'll continue watering them and then I'll go back home. That's it for now. Have a good one. Me again. I forgot to say something. The fact that the experimental ditch has 23 trees planted on it, and 2 of them were already planted since last year. 1 was planted this winter, and the other 20 I planted them today. They are 2 meters apart, so they are 46 meters. Yeah, because I left a little bit of good soil and put the ditch longer than the last one and the first one, so that's why I'm saying. That's it. Bye.